It's time to make a cover for my Enchanted Lake journal. These are the signatures. I may do some additional decorating on them, but for right now, this is how thick they look. I've cut my spine to accommodate this thickness to about 3 inches, and the front and back covers to 9 by 6. All right. The first thing that I do is tape all 3 sections together, leaving about 1/8 of an inch or so. We use the grid to keep them straight. And this is book board, or very thick chipboard, about 1/16 of an inch thick. All right, I'm going to tape these together. And then I like my journals to have a nice, soft, cushy cover. So I'm going to glue some quilt batting Actually, I think I'm going to cut this in one big piece. That'll be a lot easier. Let me pause you for a minute. So I cut out a piece of quilt batting. This is very low loft quilt batting. And I'm just going to glue it down to the cover and then trim it. Okay, so I'm just going to lay this on. Give it a good squish. And then I'm going to go through and just trim those edges off. Let me just cover up this little corner. Okay. So I'm going to cover it with this beautiful batik fabric, and that just feels really nice. I'll trim that out. And we're just going to wrap it around to the inside. Now I'm not actually going to glue this down because sometimes you get ripples and that just ruins the entire thing. But I'm going to wrap it around tight enough so that it's not an issue. But before we do that, I have this right here that I want to put on the front cover. So I need to mark exactly where she needs to go. So I can stitch her down to the fabric before I glue the fabric down to the book. So this is my edge. top and bottom. Inch and a half. Yep. So let me stitch that down. I'm probably going to put something behind it too. Or not. Maybe I'll just leave it like it is. But to give it a little more dimension, I am going to put a little piece of quilt batting under her so it will be a little bit dimensional. So I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. So I lost audio during this particular part of the video. What I'm doing now is getting ready to glue the cover down to the inside. And I'm using Fabri-Tac for this. Right here I'm just trimming a little more of the excess off. To reduce the bulk, I'm trimming off each of the corners, leaving about 1/8 of an inch extended beyond the corner of the cover, and I'll be doing that in just a second. So I'm going to glue the top down and the bottom down, and then I'll do each of the sides. So starting in the middle, tug on it just a little bit, and then just work your way out to the edges. And I'm just pressing the fabric down into the creases of the spine. And I'm going to do the bottom. So for each of the little corners, if you have any quilt batting still sticking out, I'm just trimming that off to reduce some additional bulk. And you want to put a little spot of glue right there in the corner. and then just press that piece of fabric down good and tight. And I'm going to use my bone folder just to press it in even further. And this just gives you a nice neat corner. Again, I'm working from the middle out. And do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so I've decided to go ahead and do a hidden spine. So I've cut a piece of cardstock that is, or chipboard, it's not very thick, chipboard that is the same width as my spine, which is 3 inches. And then I marked the center, which is 1.5 inches. This is a piece of painter's canvas, nice and neutral. I'm going to lightly mark the center. And we want to glue this chipboard to the center of this canvas. And we are going to be attaching our signatures to this cardstock or chipboard. All right, so I'm going to glue this down. Glue it down really well. All right. So I know that my center is here. And I want to evenly space all 3 signatures. Now my signatures are fairly fat. So if we were to do, come in 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So one signature would be attached here and one in the middle. All right. So I'm going to create a graph to go ahead and mark the lines where my signatures are going to go, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've marked the center of my spine, and I'm going to come in, what is that, about an inch on either end. I'll mark this as my top. So I drew a straight line down the center, and then I'm going to use the lines on my mat to mark a cross section of where each signature will be sewn in. Okay. All right. So you can see these little dots here. I hope you can anyway. All right. So now we need to mark a line this is where I want that signature to go and where I want that signature to go. So again, I'm going to line this up. This is a bit fiddly, I know, but you want to make sure that you get this part right. So I've lined my center line up on the mat. Actually, let me do this. So it looks like I am 1, 2, 3 quarters in from the sides. 3 quarters is right there. 3 quarters right there. 3 quarters right here. All right, so now let's line that up on our mat. That looks about right. Okay, so at each one of these intersections is where we will stitch in the signatures. All right. Now, I have to put my face all into the book when I sew in my signature, so I'm going to do that part off camera because I don't want you looking at the top of my head. That wouldn't be very entertaining. So as soon as that is done, we'll come back. Before I start sewing them in, I just want to show you what I've done here. I have poked holes in my chipboard for where the signatures are going to be actually sewn in. And then you can see the holes on the back. And I just go in the opposite direction to make those holes a little bit clearer. And then I make a template just out of graph paper or any kind of paper. And I marked where the holes were. And then punched a hole where each one of those marks are. And that you just center inside your signature. And make sure you know where the top is. Now, this is a little bit longer than my actual signature is, and that's okay. This doesn't have to be perfect, but I just center this in and then punch a hole through the signatures. You can see those right here. Okay. I hope you can see them. One right there, and right there. So I'm going to do each signature the exact same way and then sew them in, and we'll come back. Okay, the first signature is sewn in. Found the center. Just tied a double knot. And I'm glad I didn't do that on camera because that was a bear. I usually decorate my journals after I've sewn in the signatures. And when you've got all of this stuff, it can make it a little difficult. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get the last 2 sewn in, and we'll come back and take a look at it. Okay, I finally got all 3 of them sewn in. So that's what it looks like. And so now we have to make a decision of whether we want to cover these sides up with what I'm going to use on the inside, or do we want to leave the fabric out? And I kind of like the fabric out with these frayed edges, so I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to cut these pieces out for the inside and get those glued down, and then we will attach our signature. So I'm going to trim this about right there. And guys, I'm sorry I didn't show you how I sew my signatures in, or this was not meant to be a tutorial on how to attach signatures to your journal. I'm not good at it. I don't like doing it. Let's see. I think that looks good there. We'll go ahead and ink that. So one day if I get better at it, I will do a tutorial on it, but it's not my favorite thing to do when I do junk journals. Okay, so we'll just glue that down right there. And then when we put the signatures in, that'll be overlapping like that. And these little parts will be sticking out. So there's that side. And we'll go ahead and put this one over here. Trim it down. All right, let's get these glued down. And make sure you get plenty of glue out to the edges so that it won't lift up. And I printed this out on 80-pound cardstock. Get that spread out. And then this one. All right, now we can glue our signatures in. So we want to get this centered. We want to make sure that this is sitting down right in the spine. And the only part that we're going to glue down is this flap right here. So let me check this side. Make sure that that's sitting in there the way I want it to. I'm going to get some glue started here. And we're just gluing not in the spine, but just here on the side. And I'll come back and finish gluing that down once I get this side stuck. Right. All right, so we'll give that time to dry. Go ahead and press in your spine creases right there. Okay. And what I'm going to do while that's drying is just continue to fray this painter's canvas. It's not painter's canvas, it's like drop cloth. The stuff you put down in the floor when you're painting so you don't mess up your floor. Okay. So while that dries, I'm just going to prop up these signatures right here. As soon as that dries, we'll come right there. Pretty good. And so you have a nice, smooth surface on your spine, no strings showing. That's what it looks like from the top. The only thing that I see that I don't really care for is I can see my chipboard on the inside there, but that is very fixable. We can just attach some lace to the back of this drop cloth. And I think that will look really good. Okay. So that's the video for today. Again, this was not a tutorial. I was just putting the cover together and thought that I would let you see what I do. The next thing that we're going to do is do some more decorations on the inside. Not a whole lot, but I know there's some additional things that I want to do, and I will video that and probably do that on Thursday. Okay, so thanks everybody for watching, and I hope that you will come back and watch the next video, and that you have a fantastic day. Bye.